Hey guys, welcome back to another video. For me, been absolutely while since I recorded the video. I've been on a holiday, and I did scheduled videos to upload, but now I'm back and I've been teasing my second draft vid. Here it is. We're gonna get into it. Honestly, I've like all FPL managers probably had about 100 drafts by now. But this is a team that I've settled on for a couple of days now. It hasn't really changed, and I think this could be probably the closest to what I'm going to start with for the start of the season. So let's get straight into the draft and see my picks. Okay, so we start with Nick Pope in goal. Now, I really like Burnley this season for defensively because I think that Europa League completely destroyed them last year. And I feel now that Pope, back to full fitness, you would think would be the starting goalkeeper. I think Tom Heaton, there's been a lot of transfer speculation, and I believe he will be on his way out eventually. But if it hasn't cleared up by the start of the season, I'll probably go safe and go for Matt Ryan to start the season off. I mean, I'm not a fan of Brighton defensively, but he could probably return similar to Pope. But I just felt that Pope maybe could return some nice clean sheets potentially. Southampton at home, not an easy fixture. In the grand scheme of things, Southampton looking very, very attacking in pre-season under Hassan Hutel. Che Adams really caught my attention as well with Danny Ings and Nathan Redmond. So I'm not expecting a clean sheet from that, but I think that he could get a lot of saves. You know, maybe we're talking 2 points more from the saves. And then the next couple of games, Arsenal away, difficult, but again, I think they're save points. Wolves away, save points, and again, they got Europa League, so they might be sidetracked. Liverpool at home, I'm not expecting nothing from that, but from game week 5 to game week 8, it's very good. But my plan, as you may have seen on my Twitter, is between game week 4 and game week 5, there's the international break with the 2-week break, which is where I'm likely to use the first wild card because 2 weeks to prepare a team. And so Nick Pope could just be a short-term option if, say, Burnley don't start season well. But if they do, and entering these nice fixtures from 5 to 9, could definitely stay in my team. Next, we move on to defence, and I think this has been an area which has constantly been changing for me, but I think I finally got something sorted. And you probably look at some of these picks, I think it's a bit weird. Walker Peters, I'll highlight him. Personally, I think he's an absolute bargain. 5 million, and with Trippier leaving Atletico Madrid, and Serge Aurier, he's been at AFCON and had an injury. You believe Walker Peters will be the first choice right back for the start of the season, especially with Juan Foyt out for 2 games with suspension. Now, I'm a Spurs fan, so you should trust me for my advice, and I hope I get this right. But with the Audi Cup, so Aurier wasn't in the squad, and Walker Peters was. Walker Peters has played literally every game in pre-season. He's been on it, and I think Aston Villa at home should be a clean sheet for Spurs, and the City away probably not. But the good thing with my team is that, again, with the wild card, if Walker Peters doesn't play game week 3 or game week 4, I think a quite strong bench to be able to take the hit if he can't play those games, and I'll go for my bench later on. We come on then to John Stones. Now, all the hype has been around Zinchenko, especially particularly on Twitter, on the FPL community, and I think Zinchenko is a great option. Mendy is supposed to miss the first, I think, at least 4 games of the season. And there's also Laporte as well, 65 million, but I could not stretch to that. But I think Stones is nailed on. Pep Guardiola has said that Stones is a player. He's made mistakes, but he keeps on growing. And I think Otamendi wants to move. So surely Stones is a nailed on centre-back partnership with Aymeric Laporte. West Ham away, you think would be a clean sheet. I think West Ham might nick a goal potentially through a penalty. But Stones, 5.5 million could be an absolute steal. Time of recording, 2.3% ownership, which I think is ridiculously low for a City defender, who could easily cover Laporte's attacking potential. I mean, we saw Stones at the World Cup with his goal threat, and obviously he was in and out of the City side last season, so couldn't really, get momentum to perform for the City side. But I think Zinchenko is Angelino, always going to be threatening at left back, whereas at centre back at the moment, now the company out, and I think Otamendi out of favour. Stones he'll at least start the season as the first choice centre back alongside Laporte. So one for my team. Come to Robertson, bit of a no-brainer, you know, attacking fullback. I just fancy him more over Trent just because Trent may get rotated with Gomez. We don't know the centre-back partnership with Van Dijk at the moment at Liverpool. I'm thinking it's going to start with Matip, but Gomez is always going to be there. And I think if Trent gets injured or there's European football, Gomez could definitely go at right back. So I've gone with Robbo, you know, assists, the odd goal here and there. And Norwich at home is a superb fixture to start the season with. Seamus Coleman. Now, we started the season off with so much hype around Everton. And I thought that, you know, defensively, if they had Zuma and they had Idrissa Gueye, they would be, you know, a differential for the season, and they could definitely get into the top 6. But Idrissa Gueye, as of today, has gone to PSG for an undisclosed fee. And Kurt Zuma looks likely to stay at Chelsea, so I'm a bit worried about the clean sheets. The only thing that's keeping me is his starting fixtures. You know, Palace away. Palace don't look very attacking. I think Zaha's a bit up in the air at the moment. Watford home, they gave it 2, and Aston Villa away and gave it 3. So they have a nice run of fixtures. And Coleman, not be far cheaper than Luca Dean. I think when Richarlison comes back, because he was playing, I think, on the same side as Richarlison, could definitely get forward and get assists and goals, because the problem they have is a supplying at the moment. Sigurdsson's been really lacklustre in pre-season, apart from I think a corner which he crossed into Dean and he scored. But I'm a bit concerned at the moment about Everton, and he's probably one player who I'm going to monitor from that back line who may change. Onto the midfield. Well, if you look at that, I think it's a great midfield. 2 easy, essential picks, Salah and Sterling. Salah would be my game on captain, Sterling the vice-captain. I think Salah, 12.5 million, expensive player in the game. If you don't have him, I think you're crazy. The fact that last season his ownership was excess of 50% at this time, it's only 36.3 this year. I think it's quite incredible. With the starting fixtures, you know, Norwich at home, I'm expecting to get at least a goal. I mean, a brace would be likely because Norwich cannot defend. It's a no-brainer. If you don't have him, something's wrong with you. Raheem Sterling, again, looking lively in pre-season. Pep Guardiola has come out and said that he's probably going to start the season up top because Aguero's not back yet from the Copa America, or won't be match fit. And I think Sterling's ownership has gone up about 6%, I think, since that. And I think he will be key to City this season. I could see him becoming top scorer this year. I think Salah, Sterling and Aubameyang and Kane are all going to be vying for the Golden Boot this year. But I think Sterling has got a very complete game. He's goals and assists. So Salah and Sterling, although I take a lot of my budget, I have to get him in there. Ryan Fraser hasn't been someone that was in my draft at the beginning because of the pricing. I couldn't quite follow him. I went with David Brooks, but Brooks has got an injury now, and I thought Fraser was brilliant. He got Bournemouth always start the season really well. And we look at, you know, Sheffield United at home. He's a brilliant fixture. And I think that Bournemouth could definitely punish them. You know, they come new to the Premier League, they have no idea what's going to happen. And I think, you know, set pieces, he's fast, he gets assists, he gets goals, great and can play with Wilson. I think 7.5 is a very nice price for him. And Yuri Tielemans, because we're trimming Ayoze Perez, I've gone Tielemans simply because he seems to be the more complete player. Perez is quite explosive and inconsistent, as shown at Newcastle the last couple of seasons. I think Tielemans, he's got goals and assists in his locker, probably might take a couple of set pieces as well. And I mean, although people say, oh, well, he plays deeper than Perez, you know, why would you put him in? I think he like we saw last season, he got forward. 6.8% ownership, I think, is very low. And although people say that Leicester's fixtures are difficult to start with, I think they can score against any of them. You know, Chelsea away could definitely score, Wolves at home definitely score. You've got Sheffield and Bournemouth in Game Week 3 and 4, and Game Week 5, Man United, and Game 6, Tottenham. They can score against anyone. I definitely back them. And yeah, I think that midfield is a nice balanced midfield. You know, got 2 premium picks and 2 mid-price picks. So yeah, what's not to love? We come on to my strike force, and I absolutely love the strike force. These two, since I decided to go Wilson over King, has not changed. Vardy, been in my teams, all my drafts since the first one. I think this year will be his year. Brendan Rodgers is bringing the best out of him. And I think everyone knows how much I love this man. I think 10.6% ownership is, you know, actually quite rather offensive to the quality this guy brings. He can score against absolutely anyone. He's playing in an attacking style team. What's not to love? You know, I was straight away there, and I think in a couple of weeks, you know, into the season, he may become a captaincy candidate as well. You know, I think the goals he got last year, 18, I think he could definitely beat that. So he was easily in my team. Callum Wilson, I like this guy. I think, you know, I was vying for King because of the budget option, but when he scored 2 goals in pre-season, straight away I was like, right, King's got to go out. Wilson, you has to come in. He's just a solid player. Of course, the worry is injuries. He does pick up injuries. He's injury prone, but I feel that if he can stay fit, he will be a solid pick. At 8 million is a bargain. I'd have considered premium strikers, Kane being one of them, but I think with the price being so high, and also he starts slow, I've decided to avoid him for the start. I think, you know, Spurs, we have some hard fixtures, and I think I'm just going to wait until my wild card to see if Kane is performing like many of the premium strikers, just to see how it goes. That's the beauty of it. The wild card, if it comes in early, then you can catch on to the form players during the international break, and also if there's any injuries during the international break, you can adjust to it. So I think a very strong front two for the moment. And then the bench, so, you know, it's the bench. It's not exactly going to score many points. So I've got Button in goal. He's a number 2 at Brighton. I've gone with the set and forget tactic for the goalkeepers because I just don't want the decision, and I want to put the money elsewhere, because if the 0.5 goes from there, then I don't want to downgrade Robertson to Van Dijk really, but if I could upgrade Button to Ryan, have a little rotation possibly, but I think I'm just going to stick with that. So if Ryan's injured for any reason, Button will come in. Then first on the bench, we've got Dendoncker, who's been looking really good in pre-season, and I think he's going to get more time for Wolves this season. He's 12.9% ownership, and his fixtures, they're bad to start with. But as I said with my tactic with Walker-Peters, in the event that Walker-Peters doesn't play Game Week 3, I have Dendoncker, who could easily come in for Game Week 3 with Burnley at home, which is a nice fixture. I know I've got Pope in goal, but I'm not expecting Pope to get clean sheets. Mason Greenwood, probably a lot of hype around him. Everyone's been singing praises about him. You know, he's been scoring in pre-season, and similarly, like with the Walker-Peters thing, he could definitely come in. Any fixture Walker-Peters doesn't play. This is the great thing about playing 4-4-2, is that you can be very flexible with the 4-4-2, and I think that I'm sort of covering everything. I think Walker-Peters is just a little punt at the start of the season, but allows me to put my money elsewhere in the side. And lastly, Martin Kelly. He's just a cheap 4 million. I think out of all the 4 million, he's probably the likeliest to play. And he's also playing in the side which probably, out of all the 4 million players in their respective teams, will get the likeliest clean sheets. You know, Palace got a fairly nice start to the season. And again, we get to that game before Game Week 5 where their fixtures kind of start to turn, and I will definitely change that. So that's my team. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. I haven't been on Twitter posting all my drafts because I feel like it's better to just keep it to yourself, and just drop little questions on Twitter to see what people think. But I'm happy with that at the moment. I would definitely obviously do my Game Week 1 team just before the deadline, and I personally don't think it's going to change that much from this, but I will of course update you with that. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm glad to be back in the YouTube scene again, and I'm going to keep bringing content again. Check out my Twitter. We'll be posting lots of things on there which I think is of interest to any of my followers, and yeah, I've just to make sure to check me out. I do lots of podcasts again with FPL discussion. He's really been ramping up the videos as well, so make sure to check him out. It's my great mate Ollie. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you in the next one.